of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery is not just a children's story, it is a timeless reflection on gratitude, imagination, and the art of seeing beauty in ordinary life. First published in 1908, it continues to speak to hearts around the world, teaching readers how to stay joyful even when life doesn't go as planned. Set in the peaceful countryside of Avonlea, the story follows a young orphan named Anne Shirley, whose world is painted by wonder, colour, and thankfulness. What makes the story special is not magic or fantasy, but the way Anne turns everyday moments into something extraordinary, simply because she chooses to be grateful. In a time when the world moves too fast, this story reminds us to slow down, to notice the light falling through the trees, to feel thankful for kindness, friendship, and the simple fact that we are alive. Gratitude, as Anne of Green Gables shows, is not just a polite word, it's a way of looking at life. One that transforms loneliness into peace, mistakes into lessons, and small moments into treasures. The story begins with a mistake. Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, two elderly siblings, live in the quiet village of Avonlea, decide to adopt a boy to help on their farm, Green Gables. But when Matthew goes to the train station, he finds not a boy, but a thin, red-haired girl, Anne Shirley, full of energy, curiosity, and endless imagination. Anne has known little kindness in her life. As an orphan, she has moved from place to place, often unwanted. Yet, despite her hardships, she carries an unshakable sense of gratitude. She is thankful for every sunrise, every tree, every chance to belong. When she first arrives at Green Gables, she calls the avenue of trees the White Way of Delight, and names a nearby lake the Lake of Shining Waters. Through her eyes, the world is no longer plain, it is poetry. At first, Marilla is firm and skeptical. She didn't understand Anne's dreamy talk or her habit of giving names to flowers and clouds. But Matthew, quiet and gentle, sees something rare in Anne, a sparkle of joy that lights up the home they had long thought would remain silent. Over time, Anne wins their hearts. She brings laughter into the house, chaos into their routines, and warmth into their days. She makes friends like Diana Barry, a friendship built on loyalty and forgiveness. She faces challenges at school, often letting her fiery temper get her into trouble, but she always learns, always apologizes, always grows. Anne's life in Avonlea is not perfect. She faces embarrassment, disappointment, and loss, yet she turns each hardship into something meaningful. When things go wrong, she calls it scope for imagination. When life seems dull, she looks for something to be thankful for. Even in moments of sadness, she believes that gratitude can make the world beautiful again. By the time Anne grows older, she has learned that joy does not depend on what happens to us. It depends on how we choose to see what happens. Every character in Anne of Green Gables reveals a different layer of gratitude and emotional growth. Anne Shirley is the heart of the story, impulsive, talkative, and endless hopeful. She teaches that gratitude is not just about saying thank you, but about living with awareness. Her imagination turns ordinary life into a celebration. She shows that even when life is unfair, one can still choose to see beauty. Marilla Cuthbert, strict and practical, represents reason and order. At first, she believes gratitude must be earned through discipline and hard work. But as she watches Anne grow, she learns that love softens judgment. Gratitude, she realizes, is not about perfection, it's about appreciation. Matthew Cuthbert embodies silent kindness. He rarely speaks, but his actions are full of care. Buying Anne her first puffed sleeve dress, listening to her endless stories, and reminding her that she is valued just as she is. His quiet gratitude teaches love doesn't always need words. Diana Barry, Anne's dearest friend, is a symbol of sincere companionship. Through her, the story reminds that friendship itself is something to be grateful for, a safe place where one can laugh, cry, and be accepted without condition. Even the secondary characters, like Mrs. Lynde with her gossip or Gilbert Blythe with his teasing, play a role in Anne's growth. They teach her forgiveness, patience, and humility, all branches that grow from the same root of gratitude. Together, these characters form a portrait of life that is gentle but profound, where every challenge is a lesson and every person is a teacher. At its heart, Anne of Green Gables explores how gratitude transforms the human spirit. Anne's gratitude begins with imagination. She names everything around her, the forests, the fields, the sky, as if they are dear friends. This simple act turns the world from something ordinary into something alive. It shows that gratitude is not just about what we receive, but about how we see. The story also reminds that gratitude and resilience are deeply connected. Anne faces rejection, poverty, and loss. Yet she never lets bitterness take root. She teaches that thankfulness is what keeps the heart young and hopeful. Another message is about belonging. For Anne, finding a home at Green Gables is not just about having a roof, it's about finding people who make her feel seen. Gratitude helps her build those connections. It turns strangers into family and houses into homes. There's also a quiet spirituality in the book, not religious, but soulful, and often finds comfort in nature. The rustle of leaves, the color of sunsets, the rhythm of rain, these are her prayers of gratitude. Through her eyes, nature becomes a teacher, reminding that joy does not come from control, but from appreciation. Finally, Anne of Green Gables teaches that gratitude is a choice. It does not deny pain or sadness, but it refuses to let them define life. It invites us to live with eyes open, to notice the good that still exists, even when life feels imperfect. For children, Anne of Green Gables is a story that builds emotional intelligence. It teaches empathy, kindness, and the habit of seeing the positive. It encourages curiosity, creativity, and the ability to find beauty in the smallest moments, from a flower blooming to a friend smiling. Anne's way of speaking, full of enthusiasm and wonder, teaches young readers that being expressive, kind, and hopeful are strengths, not weaknesses. Her gratitude becomes a model for how to face mistakes with grace and turn challenges into lessons. For adults, this book is a mirror. It reflects the part of the heart that still longs for wonder, the part often hidden under responsibilities and hurry. It asks, when did we stop noticing how blue the sky is, or how comforting a quiet evening can be? Through Anne's innocence, adults are reminded that gratitude is not childish, it's wise. It does not ignore pain, but transforms it. It helps us see meaning in struggle and joy in simplicity. In a world that often celebrates more success, more possessions, more speed, this story whispers the opposite truth, that peace comes from enough, from seeing what is already good, already here. Anne of Green Gables is not just a book for children, it's a book for the human spirit. Even after more than a century, Anne of Green Gables continues to bloom in the hearts of the readers because it speaks to something eternal, the power of gratitude. Anne teaches that gratitude is not something to practice once in a while, it is a lens through which to see the world. When we look with grateful eyes, everything changes. Problems feel smaller, love feels larger, and life becomes a little more magical. Her story reminds us that happiness is not found in perfection, but in appreciation. That joy is not something to chase, but something to notice. And that the smallest acts, saying thank you, helping someone, noticing the beauty of the world, are the foundation of a meaningful life. Anne of Green Gables is ultimately a celebration of the everyday. It teaches that being grateful for small things, a kind word, a gentle breeze, a moment of laughter, is not only how we find happiness, but how we keep it. The author once wrote, "It's not what the world holds for you, it's what you bring to it." And what Anne brings to the world, and to everyone who reads her story, is a simple, everlasting truth that a thankful heart turns even the ordinary into something extraordinary.